I'm going to start with the fundamentals. If you think you already know it, you're probably wrong. So stick with me. The devil's in the details here. You may, think you're pretty good at PPC, or maybe you don't. Maybe you are pretty good at PPC and you've been able to generate results. Whether you're like just starting out in your PPC journey or you're like really far in and you're already generating good results, I guarantee you that you will get golden nuggets out of just this presentation that will change your Amazon account and your PPC account for the better. There is guaranteed to be something in this presentation, and for some of you, it's going to be a lot of the presentation that straight up can immediately improve the results of your Amazon PPC campaigns. So let's jump in, as long as everything looks good, and I'm keeping an eye on the chat, guys, and so is Alex from AMZScout in here, my co-host. So make sure to keep active in the chat. If you have questions, the chat is going to be moderated by Alex, but I'm also keeping an eye on it too. So any issues, any questions, like put them in there. We're going to have a whole section at the end for question and answers. So yeah, just make sure to stay active. And now during this presentation, stay focused. Be humble so you can accept the information. You might think you know it. Again, the devil's in the details. And don't try to multitask. Don't put this on in the background, because literally, like I said, one thing that you learn in this presentation, this is one of those one things that affects all things. It can save you thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars and make you that same amount in profit if you implement it and you deeply understand it. So it's worth your attention. It's worth you not missing something because you have email open or you're texting or you're WhatsApping or something else. So let's rock and roll. We have a lot to cover. So just a couple of the things you're going to learn is our exact PPC launch sequence setup. I'm going to spend a lot of time on launch and show you some real examples of some launches. I literally just picked up some ones that we've literally just done in the past couple of weeks and in the past couple of months. You're going to learn how to set up campaigns based on product lifecycle. This is a totally different way to think about PPC. You're going to learn the 7 biggest mistakes that sellers make in PPC, and I added a couple to it actually. You're going to learn how to use external tactics to leverage every PPC dollar you spend to get more back. If I have a machine where I put in $1 and it pops out $1.50, I'll do that all day, right? That's the idea. That's what we're trying to get to. And then you're going to learn how and how often to optimize each campaign and each type of campaign. And we're going to go over the 8 core campaign types and how to structure them and how to optimize each one based on 8 specific goals. This is, again, a whole new way of thinking about PPC that has evolved based on our real experience in the marketplace. Real quick before we jump in, I'm going to do a quick history of Amazon advertising, because when I started advertising on Amazon in 2015, it was way different. So simplistic. You could literally, I think $10 was the max budget that you could even do. And anybody could put up their product on sponsored search and you could get really cheap purchases. Like, it was just a field day. And every new advertising platform is like that. I remember when Facebook first launched, everyone was saying, oh, it's the cheapest advertising ever, Google too. And then it matures. And so what happened is Amazon advertising was actually launched in 2012, believe it or not. 2014, it was still quite basic, but starting to be adopted by sellers. In 2015, like I said, is when I got into it. By 2017, Amazon had really matured the advertising ecosystem, introducing display ads, video ads, sponsored products. And 2019, it got sophisticated and it became non-optional. Brands had to use Amazon PPC if they wanted to play the game at all. Getting more of the fundamentals out of the way, here are the Amazon ad channels you need to worry about. Sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored video, which is part of sponsored brands, but I split it out because it's important. Sponsored display, Amazon DSP, audio ads, and then storefronts, posts, and Amazon Live Video. These are just free ways to advertise on Amazon that all of you guys should be utilizing, because Amazon has been very clear that they're going to put more and more emphasis and more support behind platforms like this that increase branding, not just product focus. So sponsored products, you're advertising a product. Okay. This can be either in search or it can be in other listings. Sponsored brands, you're advertising the brand, which can also include a subset of the products. This can show up again in search, at top of search, or it can show up in the listings as well. Sponsored video, again, shows up in search or listings, but it's a video. Sponsored display actually shows up different places on Amazon. I'm going to show you some screenshots and off of Amazon as well. Again, guys, we're just covering a brief fundamental here before we dig into like the real ninja stuff. Pay attention, because this foundation is what's going to give you the understanding to be able to absorb the knowledge that I'm going to deliver a little bit down the line. And then we're going to have a very special guest speaker that I think you guys already know, Thomas, come in and jump in a little bit later. So yeah, those are the ad channels you need to worry about. Now let's segregate these, okay? The top 4 are the ones you really need to worry about. Amazon DSP, that's programmatic ad buying. You don't really need to worry about that right now. It's not as relevant for brands. It will become so in the future. Audio ads are again, it's not the best way to leverage your time, the time you spend on Amazon advertising. The last 3 are free, and you should be utilizing those. You're not going to get, massive sales from doing this, but it's important to adopt these now because Amazon is going to put more and more focus on it in the future. But all of this presentation is really going to focus on these top 4, okay? Sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored video, which is actually part of sponsored brands, okay? So it's really 3. But I separated it out because it's so important. And then sponsored display ads. So this is what we're really going to be focusing on here. And this is what you should be focusing on too. Don't worry about trying to, leverage every single advertising platform that Amazon gives you. So this is what you see. When you're a normal brand, third-party seller, and you open up Amazon advertising to start a new campaign. You can start sponsored products, and that can be search or placement, sponsored brands, which can be video, or it can be headline or storefront ad, and sponsored display. Okay, now let's go over what this actually looks like. First of all, there's 2 big categories that these fall in, and they're very, very different in the way you think about them. And some of you, based on your product category, your product unique design, and your product type, are going to focus more on one than the other. Okay, so this is different product to product, and this is what we found. So the search advertising, which is the lion's share of the actual clicks and purchases still on Amazon, but the browse and interest-based advertising is actually growing more and more, and Amazon intends it to grow. So for the search, you've got sponsored products showing up at top of search and rest of search. Sponsored brands, okay, again, showing up headline ads, it could be storefront or it could be product focused. And sponsored video that just shows up in the middle of search results, okay, on page 1. Then there's browse, and this means, or interest-based. This means it's not in search results. So it's not based directly on what somebody searched. This is the important paradigm that you have to understand when you try to figure out how to apply these things to your product. So sponsored display ads, they show up on the listing in different sections. I'm going to show you some screenshots. Product placement ads show up on the listing, okay, on other listings that you determine. Sponsored video can also show up in a listing, okay, not just in search results. Amazon live video and posts, again, those are free, but those are browse-based. So you can see just in the last couple of years, Amazon has added a lot of features to advertising that lead to browse-based search, browse-based advertising, where someone is browsing around, clicking around the website, and they see an ad, versus they search for something and then they see an ad. So this is a part of Amazon advertising. You're not going to learn about the real strategies in how to leverage its browse-based advertising because it's still not a majority of the actual ad sales that happen on the platform. But you have to learn this now and what the difference is between the two so that you can leverage this in the future, because Amazon has made it very clear it's going to add more and more resources and tools for brands for this style of advertising, and also for branding versus product-focused advertising. Okay, search-based advertising, think Google. That's Google advertising. Browse-based advertising, think Facebook. So what do you see in the difference between the products and services you see advertised on Google versus the products and services you see in on Facebook? Okay, on Google, you see usually it's utility options. They try to get you in with the how-to, because when you're searching for a problem or a product or a solution or a topic that you get advertised to. So usually this is more utility based. It's like straight up solving a problem or speaking to a passion. When you're browsing around Instagram or Facebook and you get an ad, these are usually things that people wouldn't search for. They're trying to interrupt your flow and show you something really cool. Okay, so this is like a really important thing to understand. So for really unique, really innovative products, you can clean up with Amazon's browse-based, and let's go back real quick, browse-based types of advertising, because you can get in people's faces, even if this is a type of product that there's not yet a lot of search volume for. Okay, this is a whole paradigm shift on Amazon. Our whole industry and all sellers are focused on, if I'm going to launch a product, what's the search volume for the main keywords, what long tail keywords, what search volume do they have? And that's how we determine our success. And that's how we determine how we're going to organically rank. And that drives all sales. Okay. We're looking at right now, the very beginning of a whole sea shift, a whole paradigm shift on Amazon, where the browse-based and interest-based advertising and visibility is going to get more and more important. So it's not all going to be about your organic ranking. It's not all going to be about your PPC search ranking. Okay, this is really important for you guys to understand. And I'm telling you this because we're on the front lines, so we see the sea changes as they're happening. So I'm going to show you a couple screenshots, and then we're going to actually dive in. Okay, to the real nuts and bolts content here. So sponsored brands, that's what you see at the front here. Okay, this is a headline search ad that features products. You can also have a storefront feature. Sponsored products, you see down here in the search results. Okay. So what I searched up here, you can see natural toothpaste. You can see that in the upper left-hand corner here. And you can see that there's a sponsored tag on these. I'm assuming most of you know this. I saw a question in here, what is Amazon PPC? PPC stands for pay per click. Okay, so that's just Amazon's advertising platform. We use it as shorthand for Amazon advertising. But I think a majority of you probably already know that, and you know where these ads are showing up. Sponsored video, it shows up in the middle of search results. Okay, it can also show up on listings. So it can show up on listings for browsing behavior, but most of your views are going to come from the middle of search results. You search something. In this case, we're still in the natural toothpaste search, first page of search results. And we see the sponsored video. It'll autoplay with no sound. You can click for sound. That's how sponsored video works, and it actually shows the thumbnail of the listing as well. Okay, these are product placement ads. Okay, so this is also inside sponsored products, not sponsored brands, but you're using product placement instead of search. So this isn't in search results. This page you're looking at is actually a listing. So you're seeing these product placement ads. These are other listings that are advertised on a listing itself. Okay, so Amazon is incentivizing people to click onto other listings, and you pay for getting that placement or for getting that click if you're advertising on your own or someone else's listing. These are the spots you see sponsored display ads. Okay, this is underneath the bullet points and underneath the buying options here in little squares. So this actually shows both on and off Amazon. Sometimes this is useful for brands. Some brands it doesn't make sense for. This will also show on like blogs and publications and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the sponsored display ad network there. Okay, now we've covered the fundamentals, guys. For those of you who want to get some kind of benchmark for what sellers typically spend, 35% is the average that we see of sales coming from Amazon PPC. Okay, so 35% from PPC, 65% from organic. And this 35%, it can go up to 50%. It can go down to 15%. Depends on the brand, depends on the brand's goals. And it depends on what life cycle your products are in, okay? And how many products you have as well. So, but this is about the average. You can expect about 35% of your sales to come from Amazon PPC and the rest to come from organic. And that's healthy, okay? Again, it can go up or down, but that's what you can expect. Now, let's get into the paradigm shifting stuff, all right? This is what you're not going to learn from gurus. This is what you're not going to learn from courses. This is literally what we've built from the ground up, actually doing this day in and day out. And that is to think of your campaigns and to think of your PPC and the whole structure of how you put your PPC together in terms of life cycles, specifically product life cycles, and goals, okay? And I'm gonna show you exactly how to set up your entire PPC account so that you have it structured perfectly to align with product lifecycle, and product goals and account goals. And I'm gonna show you what those different life cycles are and what the different goals are and exactly how to set them up, okay? So here are the 3 basic product life cycles. The first one is launch. The second one is scale. And the third one is profit. Now, I'm going to go through what each of these life cycles look like and how to know what stage of this life cycle your product is currently in or what you expect it to be in. But first, I'm going to go over it's really 8. I added video as the 9th, but these are the 9 core campaign goal types, okay? And they're grouped. That's why you see them with different colors. So there's discovery, research, and performance. And I'm going to walk through each of them, but those 3 as a set make our feedback loop. There's the ranking goal. There's the brand attack via search. There's brand attack via browse. There's brand defense via search. There's brand defense via browse. And then there's video, which is its own eggshell, its own world with its own science, because video really fuses the art of content with the art of driving traffic. Now, here's how you apply this framework of product lifecycle and campaign structure into how you structure your actual ad account. So your portfolio and campaign structure should reflect this. 1 portfolio for every product, 1 campaign for every goal. Now, if this is a lot of words to you so far and you're not quite following, don't worry. I'm going to show you guys screenshots. I'm going to show you guys examples. All right. I'm going to lead you through, hold your hand on how to set this up and then what to do once you find out what life cycle you're in and what goals you have and what goals you want to set up. Okay, so here we're looking at a Amazon ad account. A lot of you guys will recognize this. This is your dashboard. On the left, you have your portfolio. Okay, on the bottom, you have your campaigns. Portfolios equals products. You have 1 portfolio for each product, period. Never have more than 1 product represented in a portfolio. Never have a product represented in multiple portfolios. Every campaign you set up for a product should be in that product's portfolio, okay? No campaigns for a product outside its portfolio. So this is how we start to get data back that actually allows us to make real good decisions in Amazon PPC, is by having good setup and good campaign structure and portfolio structure. So every portfolio is 1 product. By the way, if the product has variations, they all go in that portfolio, unless they're drastically different and they really shouldn't be variations, but you're doing it to hack Amazon. In that case, then they would be different. But in general, all your variations, they're going in 1 portfolio. And these campaigns equals goals. So if I click in a portfolio, which represents all the campaigns that I have for a product, I should see each campaign representing a goal. So one of those 9 goals I laid out, 1 campaign per goal. So again, you don't want to have different goals in 1 campaign, or a campaign, with a bunch of different types of campaign structures in it. You want to have a clean, good setup so that you can get the data you need to make good decisions in your Amazon account. Is 1 campaign per goal. Okay. Now, each goal, like I said, is represented by a single campaign. And we're going to start off by explaining the first 3. So these first 3 represent the feedback loop set. This is the foundation of every product portfolio. So every product has these 3. The other ones you swap in and you swap out. This is kind of the foundation. All right. And I'm going to explain how these 3 campaigns work and how they feed each other and how they feed into each other. And I'm also going to lay out for you exactly how to structure these during a product launch. But first, let's talk about how these 3 work, okay? So the discovery campaign, the purpose of that is to find new keywords, that we can dive deeper into. So we're out there with our tendrils. This campaign is an auto campaign from Amazon. And some of you are familiar with this structure, but I'm going to issue a warning, okay, a little bit later on. The way you're doing it is probably wrong, especially when it comes to launching products. So if you already know this, you may think you know it, but you're probably losing a ton of money because of one crucial mistake that most sellers make, and I made for a very long time before I realized what was happening. And we changed our structure. So discovery is where you see what keywords to look deeper into. And you see that based on the impressions that the keyword's getting, the clicks that it's getting, and most importantly, the conversions that it's getting. So if you have keywords with a lot of impressions and conversions with a fairly low ACOS, which stands for average cost of sale, okay, then you know that that's a keyword to look deeper into. Those keywords that you determined from the discovery campaign, which is all about data gathering, not about performance, go into research. So the discovery campaign, like I said, that's an auto campaign. Now, behind on my text here. There we go. So auto campaign. And then the keywords that you identify with high potential, you move them into research. And when you do that, you are essentially finding out what specific search terms in that keyword you want to target. So discovery is an auto targeting campaign where Amazon targets what it thinks you should target. Research is a broad match campaign. This is one of your match types. And that's where you input a keyword, and Amazon can use that, and not just in that order, but it can put other words in front or behind it in order to find out what specific search terms. So a keyword represents, a keyword that has multiple child variations to it, right? That whole thing is considered a keyword. A search term, that's a very specific term. It could be one word or multiple words, and it's exactly that. So when we talk about a search term, that means it has to be typed in exactly that way. When we're talking about a keyword, that means, if I'm talking about phone stand, there's a family of keywords of search terms that fit into that keyword. Okay, so like mobile phone stand, Android phone stand, Apple phone stand, those are all search terms within that keyword. So we load that keyword up in broad match type in research. Okay, then we use that to identify the high performing specific search terms, and we add those to a performance campaign. The only difference between this formula that I'm laying out for you right now and what you do during launch is in the launch phase, you're not going to use discovery campaign. Do not, with a new product launch, use auto targeting from the get-go. Amazon has no sales data yet. They don't have anything to go off of, and they're going to waste a ton of your ad spend. This is the mistake that I told you guys about. So in the first week to 2 weeks of a launch, and I'm going to go deeper into this later on, use just research and performance. How do you do that if you don't know what keywords because you haven't gotten them from discovery? Well, you're going to load them from your keyword research. And I'm going to show you guys later how you can do that using AMZScout. So the performance campaign, this is exact match, not broad match like research, but exact match. And what you do with this campaign is you monitor and adjust the bids over time. So these are proven search terms, exact search terms that have proven themselves through the discovery and research campaigns to have really high performance, okay? And you're gonna adjust the bids up or down based on the performance and adjust the budgets on these based on their performance on these keywords, on these search terms, excuse me. Now, a key element here is that when you start getting data back from your performance campaigns, as soon as you input the search terms into your exact match performance campaign, you're gonna negative exact match it in your discovery and research campaigns. That means that it won't show up in discovery and research, that exact term. So negative exact match means Amazon will not advertise in these two campaigns that exact search term. The reason you want to do that is because if you have your ad spend split between discovery, research, and performance, it makes it your campaigns are essentially competing with each other, and it makes it harder for you to get good data out of how those search terms are performing. This keeps it nice and clean. Okay, you can click in there and see exactly how much that search term is producing for you because you know it's the only campaign that has it because we've identified it as a super high performer. Okay. Right on. Now, the fourth type of campaign, it's a fourth type of goal. Sorry. So the first three, as a recap, this is called the feedback loop. We have discovery campaigns, then discovery campaigns that find new keywords, research campaigns that take those keywords and they pull out the exact search terms that work well for us, and performance campaigns where we put those exact keywords with exact match targeting and then monitor and adjust over time. And we allow those campaigns to get age, because age matters, and age, Amazon actually takes age of campaign into consideration for your placement and your visibility. All right. A lot of people don't know that. So let's go into the fourth type of campaign. Really important. A lot of sellers don't segregate out their campaigns by goal. They might have these other goals. They might do PPC because they know it affects their ranking, their organic ranking. Okay. Again, I saw this question in there. What is organic ranking? Organic ranking is when a customer searches a term in Amazon search bar. Organic ranking is how far down you show up. Okay. So the first product is ranked 1. The second one is ranked 2. And, we all know that the higher we rank for organic search term results, the more sales we're going to get. This is a really key part. Okay. This has now become one of the most important, if not the most important goal that you should be concerned about achieving with your PPC. And this is why most people are measuring the results of their PPC completely wrong by being obsessed with ACOS, their average cost of sale. Okay. There's a different metric and a different set of KPIs that you need to measure when you're trying to rank. And the reason we segregate our ranking campaigns out is so that we can measure this effectively. For these campaigns, for these performance keywords, we're trying to get a low average cost of sale. We're trying to pay the least amount possible for the most amount of sales, right? And so we're trying to get our ACOS lower. For the ranking campaign, we're not measuring the ACOS. That's not what matters. For the ranking campaign, we measure it by the net loss or the real spend versus the ranking gain that you get. So you should have an estimate based on the tools that you use like AMZScout, what it's worth to you to rank at different placements for your top search terms. If you know based on your research using Chrome extensions and the tools available to you that ranking 5th will make you $80,000 a month, as long as you stay 5th for that search term based on all of your research of the competition and of the entire marketplace. And all of the keywords, all of your main keywords, then you know what you should be able to spend to get there. So what you're measuring for the ranking campaigns is the net amount that you spent. That means the amount you spent on the ads plus the amount you spent on the product, okay, going out. So it's basically your net loss. It's the opposite of what your net margin would be. It's your net margin, but it's negative when you're talking about ranking campaigns. I rarely ever, if ever, see ranking campaigns that are also profitable. In fact, if you're doing that, you're probably doing it wrong. You're probably not pushing it hard enough because Amazon's marketplace is really, really competitive. If you want to use PPC to rank, you have to overspend for that. You have to pay to get those positions. You're not going to break even on your ranking campaigns. Or if you do, you'll barely. But mostly you're going to be paying to rank. And you're going to be paying some net amount. And that's your net loss on each unit. That's what you need to measure for these campaigns. Okay. And I'm going to show you examples of all this from our real accounts in a second. So again, if some of you guys are lost, just wait around. We're going to hit this from multiple different perspectives. Now, the 5th and 6th, these are brand attack campaigns. So these are bundled brand attack via search and brand attack via browse. Okay. The brand attack via browse, I would say, is probably the most important one because this is how we get super good results, especially at launch, by targeting specific ASINs. So the brand attack search, that means that you are targeting search terms that are another brand, a competitor's brand. And usually it's a competitor's brand with a higher price point or a lower quality product or a lower star rating or less reviews. Or just a worse listing. Even if it's a good product, it could be just the listing content is not as good. So your conversion is going to be better. So that is perfect for brand attack browse, meaning this is a product placement ad on another listing. And it's a listing that you know you can compete with. If a lot of you guys probably know Thrasio. Thrasio is a aggregator in this space. That's over $1 billion valuation now. This company, I know some of the founders, Josh, Carlos, John. They grew explosively by acquiring brands and making small tweaks to them to make them massively more profitable and massively better revenue. And some of the things that they changed are the way that they advertise and the ASINs that they target on their advertising and their content. And there's a really great story that John told me when I spoke alongside him at a conference year before last, where they acquired a brand called Angry Orange that it actually takes out pet stains from carpets. Okay. They acquired this brand and it was doing really well when they acquired it. It was doing significant revenue. I don't remember exactly what it was, but say it was $1 million a month in revenue. All they did was change the main image to make it stand out way more by making the packaging just this bold, solid, bright orange color. And before it just blended in with all of the other sprays, they changed it to this bold packaging. And when they did product placement ads, it stood out from everything else. It popped out like a sore thumb, this bright orange color. And they literally 2 or 3x that company in the span of less than a quarter by doing that. It's crazy. So this shows you how these little tweaks, and this is why you guys should be paying attention and close all your other Chrome browser tabs, because little tweaks like this, one little change can dramatically alter your business. One little insight. And I'm showing you guys these insights from real world experience. Brand attack search, this means you're just targeting another brand's brand name, but it shows up in the search results. And I'm going to show you guys examples of that in a second as well. Yeah, so here you go. Here's a brand attack search campaign. See, I typed in Trader Joe's toothpaste. So Trader Joe's toothpaste, yet all I see all over the top is Tom's. So obviously they're heavily targeting this other brand, Trader Joe's toothpaste, because they know that they're superior. I mean, look at the listings. Here's Trader Joe's toothpaste. On the lower right, you can see it's the purple one. The lighting is bad. There's no depth to it. It's a terrible picture. It looks like it was taken with an iPhone in a basement or something. And Tom's knows this. So they know that this brand is getting a lot of search volume. And they know that their listings look better. So more people are going to click on theirs. So obviously this is working for them because they're going heavy on it. They've got the sponsored brands and they've got the sponsored products on this brand. So this is a brand attack type of campaign. Here's what the brand attack browse looks like. You can see, again, on this very same listing, this Trader Joe's toothpaste. Once I click into the listing, see all these other brands showing up on their product placements. Choosing this is an art. And these guys know. They know that their listing is better than this one. And that's why, when you search some of these other brands, you don't see this. You don't see these product placement ads. In fact, you see only their brands because they know that they're better. And other folks have probably tried and lost money on it. So you choose these brands very wisely by doing your homework up front. Then the next two are brand defense, which is exactly the same as what we're talking about with brand offense, but you're defending your own brand here. This really matters once your brand starts to get significant search volume. Okay, like, we have brands, they get 10, 12, 15, 20,000 searches a month just on the brand. So this becomes really important. Other people are going to snipe these spots if you don't. It's not a waste of your ad dollars to advertise on your own brand. Search any major company, Airbnb, Uber, Salesforce. You're going to see the top Google hit is their paid sponsored spot for that because they just want to crowd out anybody else who would try to steal their sales. So you can see counter to what happened when I searched Trader Joe's toothpaste. If I search Tom's toothpaste, they've got all their spots. They've got all their product placement ads. They've got ad spots. They've got all their headline and sponsored brand search spots. Okay. They've got it all covered. So you have to know, you have to be able to determine what brands you can fight against and what brands you can't. The reason Trader Joe's toothpaste doesn't advertise on Tom's is that they know they wouldn't win. They wouldn't be driving profitable ads and they wouldn't be driving low cost ads to that. Okay, so it's all in the selection. And this is the browse defense. Look at this again. We're on the Tom's listing. All of the sponsored products related to this product are their own products. Now for you guys, I actually, I would recommend, even though I wouldn't recommend this on search, for browse, I'd recommend all brands do this. We do this for almost every brand, unless it really, really doesn't make sense, because you get these own spots. As long as you have multiple listings, you should be advertising them, and they're related. You should be advertising them on your own listings. Otherwise, other people are getting those clicks. They're already on your listing. You've done the hard work of getting the traffic to the search results and getting the clicks to your listing. Don't waste it now. Okay? And the last one, of course, is video, which is its own ecosystem, its own world. We're getting amazing results with video. The key to this is to generate videos that display a unique selling proposition in the first 2 seconds. The first 2 seconds has to have a very unique selling proposition that's shown via video in the first 2 seconds. And like I said, Sophie does both content and traffic. We actually generate these videos as well as manage the traffic for the videos and manage the Amazon ads. That's the key. All right, let's get into, like I said, a deep dive on these product life cycles. So we have the launch cycle, we have the scale cycle, and we have the profit cycle. How do you know if your product is in which of these life cycles your product is in, life cycle stages, and what to do once you know what life cycle stage your product is in? Let's dig into it. So the launch product life cycle phase means that you are launching a new product or relaunching a product that already exists. So for whatever reason, whether it's brand new on the marketplace or it's old, dead in the cemetery and forgotten about, you are not getting ranking on this product. You're not getting organic sales. It needs to be launched with intention. Okay. The primary goal of this campaign of this product, when you're in this life cycle stage, is to get sales velocity from high relevance keywords with significant search terms to rank. That's the goal. Your goal is not to generate profit when you're in the launch phase, whether it's a brand new launch or a relaunch. You're not trying to generate profit. If you try to go that route, other brands are going to eat your lunch. And when you lose momentum on Amazon, you lose completely, period. So you need to keep that momentum up, and it's all or nothing. You know, on today's Amazon ecosystem, you're either launching and getting that organic ranking for the top search terms that you identified, or you're not. If you try to half-ass it and you don't spend enough and you're trying to pinch pennies and get profitable campaigns during the launch phase, you're going to lose. You got it all mixed up. You wait until the scale and profit lifecycle phases to do that. And if you don't, you'll just never get there. You know, you'll maybe make a couple of bucks and then drop back down, never rank, and then the product's back in the cemetery. You need to spend it to make it on today's Amazon marketplace. So the primary goal is to get sales. You have, in the very beginning of a Amazon product launch, you have a 35-day honeymoon period. Okay, this is well known now. It's not officially released by Amazon, but we have lived by it for a very long time. It's very clear that in the first 35 days of a product going live on Amazon, Amazon gives it a shot. It's like Amazon gives you like your 15 minutes of fame. It has no previous sales data to use to determine the algorithm for where it should rank on different search terms. So therefore, whatever you feed it, it just takes that into consideration and at the expense of other more established products. So you actually have the opportunity in the first 35 days to significantly rank if you really gun it. And this is why I'm saying, if you take your foot off the gas in these first few weeks, you're done. You know, the sellers that don't have a sophisticated strategy when it comes to their PPC for launching, they'd never even see the light of day in today's Amazon marketplace. That's the raw truth. So in this phase, you're tracking KPIs, not weekly, not monthly, but daily. And the main KPIs you're tracking the number of organic sales, the number of PPC sales, the PPC spend, the PPC revenue, the number of rebates you gave away, the number of reviews you got, how many total reviews you have, what review star rating you have, And then your normal PPC metrics like your click-through rate, your PPC conversion rate, and then the listing metrics like your total impressions and your unit session percentage, which is your listing conversion rate. So all these metrics you track every single day. It's not that hard. You literally have a VA, it takes 15 minutes. They look up all that information and they put it in the spreadsheet. You track this every single day. Oh, and most importantly, you track the ranking of the top 5 keywords. And we're gonna show you later how to use AMZScout if you don't already know or have another tool that you use, how to use AMZScout to determine your keywords and to track them. Okay, so those are the most important things. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. It just means a number that you track that tells you how good and how healthy your business is doing. So the success here is measured not by your PPC profit, but by your organic ranking results. That's how success is measured. So you're not doing yourself any favors if you're getting really low ACOS, but your sales, are in the single or double digits. You're not doing anyone any favors, and no one's going to pat you on the back for that. If you have a high ACOS, but your ranking is going up, and up, and your organic sales are going up, and up, then that's something to celebrate. It's okay if you have a high ACOS. Okay, the target during this phase is to rank for the keywords, and then once you do that, bring your ACOS back down as close to break even as possible. During this phase, here's how you set it up. And again, I'm going to show you guys some screenshots of actual campaigns in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months that we ran for these. You want one ranking campaign for each of your 5 top target keywords. The keywords are the keywords that you found that have the highest impressions for your product, but also the highest relevance. So it's a mix of the two. The highest impression keyword, it's likely not going to make it on your list. If I'm selling vitamin D supplements, the term vitamin D probably won't make it on my list because that's a super high competitive keyword where everyone's losing money to rank on that because there's literally hundreds of thousands of searches per month, not tens of thousands. But if I have chewable vitamin D for kids, then that keyword is high relevance for my specific product and my specific customer avatar. And it still gets significant search volume, maybe not 300,000 searches a month, but maybe it gets 20,000 or 30,000. Still great search volume there, okay? Or even 10,000. Still lots to profit off of with that type of search volume. So you're gonna have one ranking campaign for each of your top 5 target keywords. Again, don't put these in separate campaigns. For your top 5, you're actually gonna use separate campaigns for each one. And there's a reason for this, and the reason is to make it easier to measure and to not bundle it in with your performance campaign, which is more about optimizing for profit and optimizing for margin and sales velocity. These are specific campaigns that you need to measure exactly how much you're spending on each individual keyword in order to know what your net loss is to rank for that keyword. And you cross-reference that with what organic ranking you've been able to achieve for that keyword and what revenue increase you've gotten as a result of that ranking increase. So you see how we think about things completely differently. You have to think about PPC as part of a very, connected ecosystem of your Amazon account, not in and of itself, where most sellers are just thinking, oh, I want to lower my ACOS and I want to raise sales for all my products. Those are my goals. That's all I want to do. That's the wrong way to think about it. Okay, the other campaign, you're going to have one research campaign with a starting list of high relevance keywords for your research. So this is very important. We touched on this before. You don't want to start out with a campaign with an auto campaign, Amazon's auto targeting campaign, when you have a new product launch. The reason is that Amazon doesn't have any sales velocity to go off of or sales history to go off of, and they're going to waste your ad spend. So the way you do this is you set up a campaign with broad match, just the research campaign. Remember discovery, research, performance? You cut out discovery for the first week to 2 weeks, sometimes even up to a month, depending on how much volume you're getting. You just do research. And since you don't have keywords coming from your discovery campaign, you pre-populate them yourself. And you pre-populate them with a list of 40 to 200, sometimes more, broad match keywords from your keyword research stage. And later, we'll touch on that very briefly, how to go over that. Then you're going to have one performance campaign. Okay. And then later on, one discovery campaign using auto targeting, but again, only like 7 to 14 or more days down the line once you've already gotten sales history for Amazon to go off of. Even this one tip, guys, can save you thousands of dollars on every product launch you do. You're going to see way, way better ACOS in your beginning campaigns if you don't start out with auto targeting and you start out with your own targeting, because you know off the bat, based on your own research, what keywords are relevant. Amazon doesn't know yet. It's all algorithmic. There's no people going back there and deciding what keywords to target for the auto campaigns. And then you're going to have one product placement ad targeting products that are lower quality or worse rating, exactly what we discussed in the brand offense, brand attack section of this presentation. Here's an example of what daily KPI tracking looks like. You can see, there are these metrics. I know they're too small to read. I'm just giving you an example of what this looks like. So you have each row is a day. Okay, this is the date. And then these, green days are just representing new weeks. So each of these spaces between the blue rows is a new week. And there's 7 days in each week. And for each of these days, we have all of the metrics filled in here. Number of sales, number of organic sales, number of PPC sales, amount of PPC spend, the conversion rate. But then most importantly during the launch is this part on the right, okay? These 4 columns. This is the organic ranking for your top 5 search terms. In this case, we chose 4, okay? So these are our top 4 search terms, and we actually have this programmed with custom formatting so that it changes color the closer it gets to 1. So the more red it is, the further away from top of first page ranking it is, and the more green it is, the closer it is to a number 1 ranking, okay? So you can see during this launch, you can actually see it working. Week after week, we're getting less and less orange and red and more green. Every single week is more green than the last week. And this is a great way to do it because this visual gives you a visual understanding of how your launch is performing, okay? Now we're gonna go over what I was talking about and why so many sellers are measuring the wrong thing. So this is ACOS versus tacos. Freaking love tacos. Probably my favorite food behind sushi. ACOS is your ad spend divided by your ad revenue. Simple as that. So if I spent $30 and I made $100 in sales, my ACOS is 30%, 30 over 100. Your tacos is your ad spend divided by your total revenue. Okay, so in the same case, if I spent $30 and I made $100 in ad sales from those $30, but including my organic sales, I made $1,000 in organic sales, and I still spent that $30 in ad spend to make 1,000 total sales, including my organic sales and my paid sales, then my tacos is 3%, okay? This is really important to understand. I know a lot of you may know this, but a lot of you may not or not be paying enough attention to it. So tacos is true average cost of sale. ACOS is average cost of sale. So the tacos, basically, it's taking into consideration the ranking component of PPC. That's the big difference. And that's why most people that are just looking at ACOS are looking at it all wrong, because what you get from PPC isn't really about the sales themselves. It's about the sales themselves and the effect they have on organic sales. And to measure that, this is the metric that you want to track. And there are benchmarks for hitting this. You have to know, in this case, your product margins to know what tacos to target. That's the most important thing, is to understand what your product margins are. So let's go into the second product lifecycle phase, now that we've gone all the way through launch. In the scale product lifecycle phase, you're in this phase when you already have significant ranking because you've you've run the launch phase successfully. You have good conversion and you have some reviews. You're getting consistent sales, but you haven't maxed out your market share yet. Now you go into the scale phase. Now you've set the foundation to scale this product, and you set up campaigns totally differently when you're in the scale phase than you do when you're in the launch phase. The primary goal here is to use PPC to scale sales while maintaining ACOS if possible. Sometimes you're going to have variability of ACOS depending on how aggressively you're getting to scale. And maybe you can live with a higher ACOS. But the goal is to use PPC to scale sales. Whereas before, our goal was to use PPC to get organic ranking. Now we have a whole different goal. So we're going to measure the success of this set of campaigns in this product based on a totally different KPI. We're not using that same sheet that I mentioned before, or we still can, but we're looking at different metrics on that sheet. Okay, our goal is to scale sales at a reasonable average cost of sale. We're looking to gain market share and ideally max out our market share. Okay. We're looking to try to get break even or slightly negative ACOS if possible. Sometimes that's not possible. And a healthy total average cost of sale. Okay. Now the last product life cycle. This is the life cycle that you get to once your product is well established, very well established. So it enters this phase once you've been in the scale phase for long enough. And that long enough, when you want to exit the scale phase, that's up to you. You know, I know sellers that never leave it, or for some of their products, never leave it, and they never transition to profit, or they go back and forth between launch and scale because they're very aggressive and they want to grow their revenue over anything else. But for sellers that are able to build up a base of sales and organic ranking, consistent sales each day from their scale campaigns, they use the profit lifecycle stage and they shift focus completely into actually maximizing the profit from their campaigns. The important thing is you can't do this until you've set a good foundation by going through the other lifecycle phases first. Now, it is up to you when you decide to move from scale into profit. When you think, okay, I've got enough market share, I really want to just maximize the amount of profit I'm getting on this product. I've got lots of reviews. I'm sticking my organic ranking. My conversion is pretty consistent. That's the time where you can start pulling money out, you know, and this is a business. We're all running businesses. We can't run in the negative or break even forever. We need to profit from this business. And this is when you start to profit from your campaigns and profit from your products. Okay. You enter this phase when the market share has been mostly maxed out, or in your opinion, you're ready to max it out or to call it. And you're targeting lower ACOS under your margin percentage. So if your ACOS is over your product margin, which is, you know, the net amount you make per sale, then you're not running profitably. If it's under your product margin, then you are running profitably. It's as simple as that. You use rank campaigns still for products that are in the profit lifecycle stage, but not as much. You only ramp them up if the position starts to drop. Again, your idea here is to minimize ad spend while maintaining your spot. You know, you want to stay on the mountain for sure. If you take your foot off the gas too much, you'll start rolling back down the hill and lose your ranking, lose your momentum. But you keep your foot on the gas just enough to pull as much profit out of these products as you possibly can while maintaining your spot. That's how to think about this. And it's important to know and be real with yourself what stage your products are in. And they can move between stages. It's not all totally linear. You know, the ideal case is you go from launch to scale to profit. But a lot of times you'll go from launch to scale, back to launch, back to scale, up to profit. Then you run out of stock. You have to launch again, then go back to scale briefly before hitting profit again. A lot of times you're going to jump around these product lifecycle stages. Okay, so as promised, let's get into some examples. I pulled out some examples that are very recent, and I pulled out examples at different scales of company so that I could relate to as many of you as possible, or in different stages in your Amazon journeys. Okay, so here's a launch lifecycle case study. This launch was executed on the 19th of May. Okay, so now it's the 27th. This is extremely recent. All right, now you can see started off with a really high ACOS, and then we optimized it, and the ACOS dropped dramatically. All right, it rose a little bit, but it stayed down here, pretty much plateaued at quite a reasonable ACOS. Okay, for a launch, a lot of times during the launch phase, you're going to have high ACOS. You can have an ACOS that can be 100%, 150%, 200%. It depends on how aggressive you really want to get to gain those ranking results. So phase one of this launch was good keyword research, analyzing the competition, using relevancy filters in our keyword research tools. And again, we'll specifically show you guys how to do this in AMZScout as an example later on. We ensured the keywords were in the listing. We ensured the listing catered to the avatar related to the keywords for the high relevance. So we had a really good foundation for the launch. Phase two was collecting data. We collected data originally at a high ACOS, 100 to 200%, while maintaining a reasonable budget. And you can see we got it way down after that. So it peaked up there, but we got it way, way, way down after the data collection phase. And then the last phase of this launch lifecycle was optimizing and launching the auto campaigns. So again, we didn't launch them at the very beginning because Amazon would have just wasted all our ad spend on random keywords because it doesn't know its target. We preloaded our research and our performance campaigns, and then later we turned on the auto campaigns. So we used an optimized feedback loop campaigns and increased sales while decreasing ACOS. So this is an optimal launch, a successful launch. Our sales are up, and we were able to get our ACOS back down to something reasonable. All right, here's a launch going into a scale case study here. So in this case, our goal was to gain market share. Now, this doesn't always happen, but we were actually able to hit a very low average cost of sale during the scale phase, which that's actually, I wouldn't say rare, but it's a win when you're able to do that. A lot of times you're able to maintain a healthy or reasonable ACOS, but not get down to something as low as this. You can see it's 15% is the ACOS we were able to get to at average over this scale phase. But the sales, you could see, went up. And that's the main thing. Even if we had to maintain a high ACOS, based on the aggressiveness of our bids on these keywords to get these sales, it would have been reasonable. But we just did a really good job on this, and we had a good product and a good listing to work with, and we were able to keep the ACOS down while increasing the sales. So you can see just under a bit under $100,000 here. We cut unprofitable ad spend, maximize the existing profitable targeting. So, we're ramping up all of the campaigns that we know are profitable. We're constantly negative exact matching. We're adjusting the bid, the placement, and we're adjusting the bids, and we're changing all of the keywords bids in our feedback loop performance campaigns and research campaigns. And like I said, negative exact matching the new keywords we put into performance campaigns in the research and discovery campaigns. Our goal is to increase sales while maintaining ACOS. We actually were able to reduce ACOS. The result was that we increased sales while lowering ACOS. So that's what it can look like. It's not always going to look like this when you go into the scale phase, but that's what it can look like when you're in scale. All right, here's a little relaunch case study. Hang on a second, guys. Here, I actually have to plug in. Just got a battery warning. Don't want to lose yet. There we go. Sorry about that. I want to just drop off on you guys. So here's a case study and one example, recent example of regaining ranking. So this is relaunch. Again, like I said, these products can go back and forth, bounce back and forth in between these different life cycles, product life cycles. This particular product lost rank while it was out of stock. That happens. Okay, it's happened to the best of us. We capitalized on the existing data we had from the previous campaigns to execute a smart launch. This was really high aggressiveness because we're really confident in the previous data. We didn't wait, with low budgets and low bids until we got enough data, to make decisions. We knew we had proven data from previous campaigns from this product that we could implement. And you can see the results here. We're able to increase sales, but most importantly, increase ranking of these of this product. Now, here's one I'm actually going to show you guys the KPIs for this one. So this is a re-rank, regaining ranking. You can see the ACOS over this period, not low. It's just a hair under 60%. Okay, but that's because during this ranking and launching campaign, the goal isn't to get low ACOS. We considered this successful because we got organic sales that aren't shown here went through the roof because the ranking increased. ACOS is not the KPI here. The KPIs for this product lifecycle phase and for the ranking campaigns are most importantly your organic rank, and then you're also tracking your click-through rate and your conversion rate. both your PPC conversion rate and your listing conversion rate. Okay, check it out. So this is the ranking before that launch at the beginning of the graph I just showed you. And here's the ranking after. You can see a lot more green here. We didn't hit all of the keywords. In this case, we're tracking a ton. It's like 9 keywords that we're tracking here. But so we didn't hit page 1 for all of them, but a majority of them we did. A majority of the keywords we hit page 1 for, and you can see we're on page 1 for none of them beforehand. So this is what you call a successful re-ranking campaign. Okay, here's a profit example. Again, these are all recent examples. The goal here was to decrease the total average cost of sales while maximizing sales and market share. Okay, and the profit, we're still concerned about using PPC to get organic ranking, but we're not being crazy aggressive about it. We're being very smart about our bid optimization so that we can keep a low total average cost of sale. We're able to grow profitable sales, and we were able to lower ACOS, as you can see. At first, ACOS was slightly going up, then it went down while sales trended up. In general, sales were just trending up, up, up. Okay. We progressively added more and more spend to the PPC while monitoring ACOS and TACOS, and we're talking pretty big numbers here. Most common seller PPC mistakes. Okay, I promise you guys I would go through these. They relate to a lot of the content that we talked about so far, and yeah, we're already an hour and 10 minutes into the presentation now, guys. I appreciate you guys all sticking with me. If you've gotten distracted, shake yourself off a little bit, close those Chrome tabs, put your phone upside down. We still got more to cover. We're almost there, and we have, you know, a really important and special guest coming on, and a surprise for you guys at the end, and a little free giveaway we're going to give you guys. So please stick around for that. The top 7 mistakes that we see with sellers that come into our ecosystem and want us to manage their PPC or get an audit from us to see what's happening on their PPC. 1, there's more than one goal per campaign. You should always have one campaign per goal. The next one is more than one match type per campaign. Again, it helps you get, the more segregated you get, the more you can pull out data insights that actually matter to the decision making in your business, both in your Amazon PPC and outside of PPC, just in your Amazon business in general, and even insights that affect your off Amazon performance. Okay. The third biggest mistake is no product targeting. You know, when people ignore this, you're really missing out. Especially, you know, you saw the example we showed with Tom's and Trader Joe's. There are always products like that you can get onto. So that's a really big mistake that a lot of sellers make. The fourth one is only sponsored products campaigns, not doing sponsored display or sponsored brands. Again, you're missing out. If you tried it, but you had too high ACOS, you likely just didn't have the right approach. The fifth one is no negative keywords or ASINs. When you see that a keyword or an ASIN is not performing well, this is the type of adjustment that you make weekly. So you add negative keywords weekly. You check to see if there are more negative exact match keywords that you can add to cut out unprofitable ad spend each week. That's a good clip to get enough data to optimize. If you try to do it more frequently than that, you're not really collecting enough data to make good decisions. If you're doing it less frequently than weekly, then you're actually missing out on a lot of opportunity to cut out wasted ad spend. The sixth one is a lot of waste on non-converting keywords and ASINs, and this is related to number 5, never negative exact matching them. And the seventh one is underuse of exact match for converting keywords. You know, if you see converting keywords in your broad match campaigns and you're not moving them to exact match, then you're not utilizing them well enough, and you're not measuring them well enough, and you're not able to spend enough time on them. When you have these hero keywords that are really producing for you, it deserve attention all of themselves. They should be highlighted, you know, as a campaign in and of themselves, because they are hero or alpha campaigns, as we sometimes call them. You should be watching them like a hawk and adjusting them constantly. External factors affecting PPC performance. We're going to go over this, guys. Then we're going to go over one main way. I'm going to show you a formula that you can use to really quickly change the external factors that affect your PPC. So here are the 6. The first one is listing quality. That means the image, the main image, the title, the copy, the secondary images, the video, and the EBC. The second one is reviews. You have no reviews, low reviews, not enough reviews, or a bad review rating. Or the other big one is you have a negative review showing on the front page of your listing under top reviews. It's okay if you have negative reviews, but they can never show up on your listing. They should show up if people click them in the reviews, but if they're top rated, get them off of there, okay? Get them off of there. You know, the way reviews are top rated is by how many helpful votes they have, you know? So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. Make sure that one way or another, you don't have negative reviews on the front page of your listing. The third one is price. If you're priced too high, like way out of the ballpark, you don't have to be the lowest price. But if you're way outside the ballpark and you can't justify that based on the product quality or differentiation or unique selling proposition, then that's going to hurt your PPC performance significantly. The fourth one is product design. Okay. Now, this is a really hard one to fix. If you have an issue with product design, you know, obviously you have to go back and start all over, you know, nose to the grindstone. But I was just talking to a seller this week who had a very simple design change that sets her apart dramatically from the rest of the market. It's pretty cool that she was able to, that she's now looking to implement that will dramatically impact her conversion. I did this in multiple of my brands, but with products that are already on the market, making design changes, sending in new inventory, and then advertising those product design changes. So you can change it and you can do simple tweaks. Product demand. You know, if there's just not enough search volume for the product, it's really hard to get the traction for it. And then of course, inventory management. If I'm running out of inventory and running out of stock, then obviously my PPC is not going to perform. And Amazon hurts your visibility when you do that. So this is what I was talking about, guys. This is kind of one of the special gifts, little nuggets I'm going to give you in this. You may have seen this around the internet already. It's kind of spread like wildfire. This is the formula that we designed for A+ content. So we've done thousands of listings, thousands of product launches, and we utilize a scientific principle for testing our hypotheses in the marketplace. We tested tons of different ways to do enhanced brand content. And this is the 7-part formula that produces the best conversion. And you'd be surprised how much conversion impact changing your EBC can have. Sometimes it's a couple of points. Sometimes it's literally dozens of points on your conversion rate. So just think about that. If you go from 15 to 20% conversion, that means for every 100 impressions you get on the listing, you just got 5 more sales every single day. This dramatically impacts your PPC, and it dramatically impacts the stickiness of your organic ranking as a result of PPC. So here's the formula. I have to go really quick through this. I actually usually present this in its own entire hour-long presentation, and each element and how to structure it and how to think about it and why it's important and all of that. I'm giving you guys this formula now just as a special little gift. You'll be able to find more about this just by Googling around. Like I said, it's all over the internet. There's a whole video I recorded about this on YouTube. It's on our website and everything else, but this is the formula, okay? You can see it here on the left-hand side. What I did here was just screenshot the EBC. This is an EBC that we created for a listing. And I cut it up into 2 just so that it would fit on one screen, but this is one scrolling EBC you see here, okay? So you can see it's separated into 7 different parts. The top part is just the logo. Then the next part is the hero image with big human faces and the product, okay? Human face is so important, real human faces. Then a 4-panel icon showing features. Then a 4-panel icons showing, 4-panel icon showing lifestyle images, real pictures. Then you're doing 4-panel with icons that show features and text to support it. Then you do 2 banners. The first banner is some kind of breakout with more of your pictures of your customer avatar with actual features. And then the next banner is either a breakout or an instructional step-by-step, or it's an inclusions, or it shows some kind of X Factor close-up with minimal text, but displaying as much as possible through icons and images. And then the last one, possibly even the most important or most exciting, is the product carousel. It actually sells the other products that you sell for you. So this is like basically free product placement ads that you can get here. And you can even sell the product using this comparison table, adding features and stuff like that in there. Okay, so that's it. Just to prove to you guys that this actually works, here's some actual EBCs that we created. Some of you guys know Matt Clark from from amazing.com, ASM. We created the EBC for his coffee brand. He's public about this. The brand is called Life Boost. I believe they're in the middle of an exit for an 8-figure amount. Okay. Before we implemented this and a couple other listing changes, the conversion rate on this listing was 21%. After these changes in this EBC was implemented, the conversion rate was 38%. Here's an example. Before we implemented this EBC, for this brand, this listing was converting at 24%. Afterwards, it was 33%. And here's one example we were looking at in the beginning. Before implementing this, it was a 12% conversion. Afterwards, it was 27%. So they're not all that dramatic, but it can be very dramatic. All right, guys, the very last thing I want to say before we actually bring in our special guest, Thomas is waiting in the lobby here, is utilize Amazon's free advertising tool too. Okay, we did a broad overview of the paradigm to follow when you're doing Amazon PPC and Amazon advertising and the way to think about it and the school of thought behind it that we use to produce results. And you know, honestly, an entire course could be taught on this, an entire course curriculum, and is taught on this. And we could do a whole hour-long or day-long session on each of the sections or each of the goals or each of the life cycles. The idea of this was to give you guys a broad overview of how to think about it, how to structure your campaigns so that you could get in there and start taking action. But also, you should start taking advantage now of free Amazon advertising opportunities. So storefronts, it's free to create those. Amazon posts, these are little blog posts on Amazon. I know sellers that are creating 50 a month and they're starting to get significant traffic from it. It's still pretty hard to judge and attribute the sales to the posts, but it's very clear that it's actually producing results. So even if you're not ready to have a content team doing pumping out 50 a month, you can just start doing a couple a week. And start getting in the habit, because Amazon is going to start including more content heavy and brand heavy sections of their site to improve the browsing behavior of shoppers. And the last one is Amazon Live Video. Again, it's free to do. You just show up live, show your product, or do a promotion, do a contest, do whatever. That's something that's free. So for those of you guys that are really bootstrapping, all of these Amazon advertising features are actually free for you. Okay, here's an example of posts. Looks like this on mobile, where most people view them. Here's an example of Amazon Live Video. It's a desktop example. You can see the live chat in here, similar to the webinar that we have going now. And this is a storefront. Okay, you can actually have your different sub brands and all of your products and a lot of really cool different types of content in the storefront. What we have in store to give to you guys for free, and also what I mentioned to you guys about the keyword research stuff. So AMZScout, you can use this to do all of the keyword research stuff that I told you guys about. You can get your most relevant and your highest impression keywords so that you can preload them into your broad match campaigns and not waste money on auto campaigns. So it's really great for you to do your upfront homework before you start your pay-per-click, and literally saves you thousands on every product launch that you do. And also you can use it after product launch in the scale campaigns as well. Reverse ASIN lookup is also a really great way to checking the top page 1 competitors, inputting their ASINs, and then looking for the keywords that they're ranking for and what they're ranking for. Because you know, if they're ranking for those keywords and they're high volume, you know they're selling for them. So it tells you if they're your competitors and they're ranking for those keywords, that those are high relevance keywords. Yeah, you can also look up search volume history. I think this is a feature that I don't think other tools actually provide. Most of them are live snapshots. Having the history is super duper valuable. And then, yeah, so this is what I was talking about before. When you're benchmarking your KPIs for the launch campaign, for the scale campaign, for the profit campaign, but especially for the launch and ranking campaigns, you are looking at success, measuring success based on the ranking impact that you have. And you have to use Keyword Tracker to do that. And yeah, AMZScout has an excellent keyword tracking tool for this. As you can see, it graphs it all out in a much smoother way than most of the tools and Chrome extensions out there. So all you do is monitor the keyword ranking positions in your Amazon search results for the product. You take the ASIN, and then you could break down the ranking by page and position for multiple keywords for each of the products. So again, you're segregating everything by product. This allows your PPC campaigns to match your tracking tools on the back end. And if you have one-to-one and you keep it all super organized with the portfolio structure we used before and a tool like AMZScout on the back end that keeps it organized in the same way, you're set up for success. Okay, then you get to track how the keyword position changes over time, and it supports all Amazon marketplaces. So yeah, you're covered no matter what marketplace you guys are selling in. All right, so let's cover the extension first. If you guys haven't used this, you're really missing out. You do get a lot more data than you get from some of the Chrome extensions and free extensions out there. You see the badges, you can use a bunch of different filters. I have this on mine. You probably saw it on some of my screenshots. I use this Chrome extension myself when I'm doing Amazon research. It is actually really, really helpful and really, really valuable. You probably saw it on my screenshots earlier in the presentation. And then this is another feature that we actually use, which is product database. We use this for product research. This allows you to identify product opportunities, and us being an agency that always needs to stay on the forefront of what works because we're executing these services for sellers. We use this to get our bead on the market, to get our bead on the categories. So yeah, this is super duper valuable in the early stage.